What do Russian spies want in Mexico? Why does the Russian embassy in Mexico City have more personnel than almost anywhere in the Western Hemisphere? And how does it all connect to the brutal drug cartels that flood the US with drugs and chaos? Today we're diving deep into one of the most dangerous intersections in modern geopolitics. Are the Russian intelligence services secretly supporting the Mexican cartels? This isn't just speculation, it's based on open source research, leaked diplomatic reports, and credible expert warnings. So let's break it down. Since 2022, the number of Russian diplomats in Mexico City has skyrocketed. By 2024, over 80 Russians were officially registered at the embassy. But according to US intelligence, many of those diplomats are actually spies. The GRU, Russia's military intelligence, and the FSB, their internal security agency, operating right across the border from the United States. General Glenn Van Dirk, head of US Northern Command, even testified, Mexico has more Russian intelligence personnel than any other country. Why? Because after Ukraine, Russian spies were kicked out of Europe, and Mexico became their new launchpad. So, how do the cartels fit into this? Here's where it gets murky. Investigative reports say Russian intelligence services, especially the FSB, have had contacts with major cartels such as the Sinaloa cartel and CJNG, and not just recently. This goes back decades. In the 1990s, Russian mobsters offered helicopters, missiles, and even a submarine to Colombian drug cartels in exchange for cocaine. Yes, really. Today, the connections are more digital and more deniable. Take Hydra Market, a Russian darknet platform used by cartel operatives to launder drug money through crypto. Millions moved through Hydra before it was shut down by Western agencies. Then there's the case of the Russian diplomatic cocaine flight. In 2018, Argentinian authorities delivered 400 kilograms of cocaine in Russian diplomatic luggage. The plane that came to pick it up, it belonged to the director of Russia's FSB. Moscow claimed it was a sting operation, but the details, secret suitcases, and diplomatic facility suggest something more sinister. So, if Russian operatives were running drugs in South America, what's stopping them from doing it right next to the US border? Russia doesn't just fight with guns, they fight with information. In 2024, the Kremlin spread a wide claim that the US was recruiting jailed cartel hitmen to fight in Ukraine. No proof, no facts, total fiction, but it went viral in Latin America. It's a classic Russian hybrid warfare technique, disinformation designed to turn Mexico against the US. Other propaganda from RT and Sputnik paints the US as the real cause of Mexico's drug violence. Divide, distract, destabilize. That's the Russian playbook. But why would the Russians work with the cartels? It's simple. Destabilization. Every overdose in the US weakens the population. Every cartel shootout near the border distracts US law enforcement. Every rumor or conspiracy undermines US-Mexico cooperation. And here's something you might not know. Mexico never sanctioned Russia after Ukraine. In fact, in 2023, Russian troops marched in Mexico's Independence Day parade. Russia is building influence without firing a shot. So are Russian spies directly funding or arming the cartels? There's no smoking gun, but there is some smoke. Cyberlinks, arms traces, shared money networks, and a sudden flood of Russian intelligence officers to Mexico. Experts believe this isn't a full alliance, just yet. It's more like a covert alignment, a convergence of interests. Russia wants to weaken America. Cartels want power, weapons, and cash. And in the dark middle ground, they might just be shaking hands. So what do we really know? Russian intelligence has dramatically expanded its footprint in Mexico. Cartels have used Russian tech and finance for years, and Russia is running a propaganda campaign centered around cartel violence and anti-US sentiment. Pull it all together, and you get a clear, chilling picture. Russia is highly likely using the cartels as a proxy force in its shadow war against the United States. The question now is, how far will this go? Thank you for watching this week's video from That Intel Guy. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below letting us know what you think. Do you think this is a covert strategy or Cold War paranoia? Let's talk about it. I've been your host Daniel, and I'll see you next week. See you!